Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will start a new lesson for class 11, that is distribution of oceans and continents. So in this lesson we will discuss about how the different continents and different oceans took the present position where it is at present. So here we will discuss about that. So first let us think about that at present when we see the different positions of continent, that is Asia, where is Asia, where is Africa, where is other continents like Europe and all, where they are at present, they were not at that position from the very past. It is always understood, but how it has taken that position, or what was the position of those continents in the past. So these are all many questions that we will deal with in this lesson. So if you see the map of the world, already I have discussed in the previous lessons that if you want to know geography very well, then you should know the map of the world and the map of your country very well. Firstly, map of your country you should memorize, you should keep it in mind, always it should be present in mind. And the map of the world, when we say name of a particular country or name of a particular continent, then immediately the map of that particular continent or particular country should come into our mind. Then only we can understand geography very well. So if you see the map of the world, then you can see the shape of Europe and Africa, and the shape of other side, shape of North America and South America. Both, if they are put together, they will perfectly fit each other. You can go and see the map. Here also we'll discuss in the later part. So if it is put together, then it will perfectly match each other. So this was first brought into noticed by a map artist, a cartographer. He for the first time brought this into notice. He was Abraham Ortelius. He for the first time drew a map and projected that someday these both continents were together. They were someday together. Then this was again put forward by another geographer, that was Antonio Pellegrini. So he also drew the same map. He also presented the same idea, same concept. So both this, they have said that this all continents it was together, but that was just an assumption, because looking at the shape of the earth. So from getting influence from this, for the first time Alfred Wegener, a meteorologist who studied about the meteors or the rocks of different rocks and soils of different areas, he for the first time put forward a theory. The same concept, he put forward a theory and presented it as a theory. And this theory that was put forward by Alfred Wegener was known as continental drift theory. So in this continental drift theory, he explained about how the continents were someday it was together, and how it has started moving from one place to another, from away from one another, and they have taken the present position where we can see it at present. So here we will discuss about it. According to this theory, all the continents were gathered in one place and made a very big continent, and that continent was known as Pangaea. The supercontinent was known as Pangaea. It is a Greek word, and it means, Pangaea means all earth, that means all land that is together. Then this supercontinent was surrounded by a sea or ocean, a very big ocean, a huge volume of water, a huge quantity of water was there, and this ocean was known as Panthalassa. This is also a Greek word, and it means all water, that is all water that was available in this earth at that time. So these two divisions were there. First was Pangaea, all continents. Second is Panthalassa, all water. Subsequently, this big continent that was called Pangaea, this Pangaea first broke into two pieces, that is the upper part and the lower part, that is the northern part and the southern part. The northern part came to be known as Laurasia, so it was called as Laurasia, and the southern part was known as Gondwana land. So these two land, big continent has been divided into two parts, that is upper part is Laurasia, then lower part was known as Gondwana land. So again, this continent which was divided into two divisions, that was Laurasia and Gondwana. Now this has started breaking into small pieces. Further they started breaking into small pieces. Now the Laurasia, it has broken into small pieces, and it has formed, that is North America. It was consisted of North America, then Greenland, then Europe, then Russia and Asia. These continents were or parts of country were found in Laurasia. It was formed from Laurasia, and in the southern part, that is the Gondwana land, it formed South America, then Africa, then Antarctica, then India and Australia, and other small islands also were included. So these all, when it was formed from this Laurasia and Gondwana land, and they have started moving away from the present position, from the position at that time in the center, and started moving away, and at present we can see where it is at present position. So far whatever we have discussed is just an assumption, it's just a story, you can say. So to prove that particular story, there should be certain evidences, there should be certain proof to prove that yes, this story is actually true, it can be acceptable, it is acceptable story. So there should be certain evidences. So there are different evidences also put forward by Alfred Wegener. So first let us discuss the evidence that was put forward by Alfred Wegener, proof. Then only we can go to the other proof that was discussed or that was found later on. So the first evidence he put forward was matching of the continent. He said that the continents match each other. Now what does it mean? Matching of the continent, before that we should know one term that is called jigsaw fit. Jigsaw fit. So jigsaw fit puzzle we have already heard about. If you don't know, then there is a puzzle of this kind. It is one side is coming out and other side is going inside, then we should find it and put it together, that the same picture, then we should complete a big picture. So this is called jigsaw fit puzzle. This puzzle is known as jigsaw fit puzzle. Why it is called? Because one match with the other, that is called matching. So here it is, the name that is of first evidence put forward by Alfred Wegener is jigsaw fit puzzle. So or jigsaw fit of matching of the continent. It comes together. If we put together, if we want to put together whole the continent, then we can put together such perfectly it match each other. Now here for example I have drawn a map of the world, half part of the map of the world. They said it is North America and South America. You should see the map of the world in Atlas also. So this is North America and South America. This is Asia, Europe, Asia and Africa, and here it is Australia. So if you see here, this portion and this portion perfectly match each other. That means if we want to put this together, we can put it together. It seems like that. Then this Australia perfectly match this position, that if you want to bring and put it here, then we can perfectly put it here. Then this portion also Antarctica, it is below, so Antarctica also come and be placed in this position. So all the continents, small islands, everything if we put together, again that supercontinent we have discussed, that is Pangaea, that can again be formed. That was the first evidence put forward by Alfred Wegener, that the continent match each other perfectly. So the second evidence that was put forward by Alfred Wegener was the rock of same age across the continent or across the ocean. So in different continents, in the near the ocean, the area near the ocean, rock of the same age are found. For example, if you say here there is Brazil and here this is West Africa. So the rock that is found here are similar with the rock that is found here. Now from that it is presumed that someday these both continents were together. For that only the same rock has been formed in this part also and that part also, because in both area, both the area, their climate is quite different. So it is not possible to form the same kind of rock here also and same kind of rock here also in both different climates. Then next is marine ocean life, that is the fossils of marine ocean, that animals that live or plants that can survive underwater. So same kind of animal fossil is found here, same kind of animal fossil is found here also. So in both the climate, even today, same animal cannot, same type of plants cannot survive in both the environment. But still then how same kind of animal fossil found or same kind of plant fossil found there. So it is assumed that someday both continents were together. Because of that, at that time same animals, same plants were found there, same rocks were formed there, but later on it was separated. So this is the second evidence put forward by Alfred Wegener. So the next evidence that he put forward was tilth. So tilth means the type of alluvial soil that is found in a particular place, or the base of the alluvial soil, you can say. It is formed beside a river and it needs a particular climate to form that alluvial soil. So here the type of alluvial soil that is found in the northern plain of India. So the same base of that alluvial soil, the same base is found in different parts of the world. It is exactly similar. That is in Africa also, here one island is there that is known as Madagascar Island also. Then in Australia also and in Antarctica also. In all these continents the same type of alluvial soil is found. Now from this the scientists or the geographers have assumed that these all continents were someday together and their climatic condition was also same, at the same time it was same in all the continents. So because of that only same kind of alluvial soil is found in all these continents, though at present it is very far away. From this also it can be assumed that all these continents were someday together and later on it started drifting from away from one another. So next evidence that is put forward by Wegener is placer deposits. So placer deposits are those deposits which are found in alluvial soil and which is very rich in minerals like gold. So in the Ghana coast there huge amount of gold is found, but the source from where it came, it is absent there. The veins are not found. Similarly, again veins are found in the Brazil coast. Here if you see in the Brazil coast the vein or source is there, but the huge amount of gold where it was deposited, that deposition is not found. But in Ghana coast the deposit is there, but the veins are not found from where the gold has come. So from this both it is obvious that someday these both continents were together, from where gold deposit from here has gone and deposited here, but later on it was separated. The last and a very important evidence that he put forward was distribution of fossils. Fossils means the dead remaining of plants and animals that is found in the rocks. So a particular plant or a particular animal always are accustomed to a particular environment, either it is the temperature or the availability of water or the soil or the landform or different kind of things that he eat, if it is present there. So that particular thing, everything should be present, then only a particular animal can be found there. So in India, one animal that is called lemur, one important animal that is lemur. So lemur at present is found in Africa, then Madagascar and India. So from this it is assumed that someday these three continents were together, these three lands were together. When this lemur spread in everywhere, and when it separated, the lemur also went with the separation. So in this format, these three land together, it was known as Lemuria. It was named as Lemuria, where lemurs are found. So one more important reptile that is found, Mesozoas. So one important reptile that is found in the southern part of Africa and the southern part of South America. In these two continents, this fossils of this reptile is found, which is accustomed in deep water. So it can be also assumed that because of presence of this fossil, both continents were together. So he put forward all these evidences to prove his theory that all the continents were together and forming a very big continent. This theory is perfectly true according to him. So he has put forward the theory, Alfred Wegener has put forward the continental drift theory. Then he has suggested some proof or evidences also. Now the important question is that if we consider also that if your theory is true, then why or for what cause the continental started drifting from one place to another? What is the force that pushed them, or what was the force that pulled them? There should be either some pushing or pulling. Apart from this pushing or pulling, if there is no pushing also, no pulling also, then a particular thing, a small thing also don't move from one place to another. A small thing also don't move from one place to another. So how can a very huge continent or 2-3 continents, they can move from one place to another without any force? So what was the force that has pushed or pulled the continents to move from one place to another? So in giving to the answer to this question, Alfred Wegener put forward two forces. That is, first one is polar fleeing force. That is, what is polar fleeing force? Let us understand first. This is the earth. This is earth, as we know, and this is the equator. Equator is the center of the earth, that is known as the equator. And we know that the earth is bulging out, that is the center portion is little bit big and the polar portion is little bit smaller than the center, as we see here. So the speed in the center, while the earth is rotating from this side to this side, earth is rotating. So while it is rotating, the speed at the center is little bit more and the speed at the pole is little bit less. Because of this speed difference here between the pole and the equator, there is a difference in speed. So because of the speed difference, there is always a pressure that is exerted from the equator towards the pole. That pressure we can understand better if you take one more example. So in this example, if you see, this is a bus that is moving from here to this side. There is a almost 90-degree turn is there. So in that turn, if the driver, he don't apply brake, he don't make the slow down the bus, directly in full speed he take the turn in 90-degree turn, then obviously there will be a pressure exerted inside the in the passenger who are sitting inside the bus, that they will tend to be thrown out from where that pressure has been exerted, because there is a difference in the wheel. There are 4 wheels. The wheels that is in this side has to cover a less area, and the wheel that is this side has to cover a big area. So because to cover a big area, these wheels will move fast, and because to cover less area, these wheels will move slow. So because there is a difference in speed in both the wheels, between this both pair of wheels, so due to this difference of speed, a pressure has been exerted inside the bus, that the passengers, they will feel that they will be thrown out of the window. That same pressure and same condition is in the case of the earth also. The same earth, one part is moving very fast and other part is moving very slow. So from the equator towards the pole, there is a pressure exerted, and all the things is always pushed towards the pole, from the equator towards the pole. Then this pressure is known as polar fleeing force, that everything always tend to go towards the pole. So it is called polar fleeing force. So the first force suggested by Alfred Wegener is polar fleeing force. He told that the continent started to move from one place to another because there is always a pressure that is exerted on the continent due to the rotation of the earth. First thing. Secondly, second force he told us tidal force. Now what is tidal force? Tidal force means the big waves that are occurred on sea, on the surface of the sea, and these waves occur normally these waves occur very small waves every day, every time, in every second one waves come and hit the bank of the ocean or bank of the sea. But these waves are little bit big waves, what we call tide. So these tide waves are formed due to the attraction of the moon, full moon, or the attraction of the sun, or or if there is an earthquake inside the ocean, or volcanic eruption inside the ocean. These 4 causes. First is full moon, or the sun, or volcanic eruption, or earthquake. For these 4 causes, a very big wave occur on the sea, and that wave, because there is always air move on the surface of the sea, this air, it push the wave and bring towards the land. Now when it enters the land, it moves certain distance, then it collapse, went down. When it moved the land, then again it come back to the earth or the sea. So Alfred Wegener said that this tide they have moved, they have always gone and hit the continent, and due to the heat of this tide only the continents have moved from one place to another. Now let us talk about the validity of these two forces that put forward by Alfred Wegener. Because of these two forces, firstly, polar fling force. First question came about polar fling force is that is the force is such big or such enormous that it will push a very big continent like Asia, like Africa, like North America, South America, Antarctica, such big continent. Can this polar fling force push this continent to move from its present position and go somewhere else? Is that force such big? The answer is no. This force is not such big that it can push a very big continent. If it would have been such big force, then human being on the surface of the earth would not have stayed. Every day that force would have brought us and would have come and taken us to the pole, because that force would not have been only on the continents, it would have been on every living being, every material that is on the surface of the earth, even earth, mountain, rock, human being, animal, on everywhere. So if that force would have been such big that it can push the continent, then it was very easy to push a very tiny human being, so we would not have stayed on the surface of the earth. This is the first evidence. So for this it was said that this force is not enough to push that big continent, first thing. Secondly, is that tidal wave very big, force of this tide is such enormous that it can push a continent? No. We have heard that, we know that normally every day many tide come and hit the area near the sea, but nothing happens. Even a small boulders and all something are put beside the roads are also constructed, but it cannot hit the road also. Such meek power it has, such small power it has. Then sometimes big tide also occurs, like tsunami we have heard. So that tsunami also can hit and destroy some part of the land, but still then it has not so much power to cover a big continent like Asia. So it can hit only around 1 kilometer of area from the sea. It can hit and it can destroy, but it cannot make the whole continent move. So these both forces don't have the power to move the whole continent. It was for these two forces that put forward by Alfred Wegener. Many scientists or many geographers later on has said that this theory is not valid, this theory is not true. So at that time it was not accepted by the geographers, this theory was neglected by the geographers. But later on other discoveries was done which found the actual force why a continent move away from one another. Again for that, those forces, this theory again came into the platform, and again scientists started to talk about this theory, and this theory was accepted. So later on we will discuss about the later discoveries that was done later on, which proved that this theory was actually true.